but I've not been in your position.
Yeah, what I can say is that working on what I call the background of this theater of operations, we have briefings, we have report meetings, we have access to information and intel, of course. And when something like this happens, you have reports which are published, of course. So it's accessible for us, depending, of course, of your classification. And I could read a little bit. I could see the wrap-up of the event. So it doesn't give all the details, of course. Again, we're not in a movie. We're not following the hero with a camera and see exactly in slow motion what happens. But that's not the point. But it's indeed quite easy to put together the pieces and to get your own imagination of what could have happened, how it happened, and then you talk, because one of the best thing in, when you're among other people is you have to talk about something, so it doesn't traumatize you or it doesn't stay as a bad experience. And of course, there very often you talk to militaries, you talk to people who've been on the ground, who have maybe lived the same things. And then they give their own point of view, maybe not on that specific action, but maybe a comparable one, maybe something they experienced themselves. And you get this very easy to believe and truthful, and sometimes also it's pushed with their own emotions, their own feelings, sometimes anger, because things went wrong for whatever the reason, bad decision, bad order maybe, or bad luck, whatever happens. And then, yes, indeed, you can get a pretty good idea of, at least mentally, of what happened. And by getting this information, whether it's written on a report or said by a fellow colleague, I think the impression you have becomes very realistic and very almost touchable. I'm not saying that I felt that I lived it, because that's not the case. And again, I was.
But you did live it. You lived your experience of being at the scene.
Exactly. So I would say that this very specific action, I lived it by proxy. I lived it really by seeing this aftermath when they came back, and then by talking with colleagues. So indeed, yeah. But again, I'm fortunate not to have been on an actual spot of an incident. But I have a pretty good idea of what happened, and also when you look at those GoPro or helmet-mounted cameras that they use during the missions, during the operations, it also gives a very precise perception of what happened. And the common factor in all that is the fact that when something happens, everything goes in every direction. Whatever plan was set up is not working anymore. I mean, there's this very common saying that when the battle starts, the plan goes to oblivion, and we try to stick to it, but it's not always easy, and there's always new factors, new circumstances that come in very quickly. And this is exactly what happened, I guess. And so
chaos.
Yeah, chaos, but up to some point it's controlled chaos, I hope, and I wish for them, because if it's only chaos, I don't know how you can get out of it. But they have to rethink the course of actions, the specific actions to do. The intentions cannot go anymore, because they plan to go to A, but it's not possible, so they have to go to B. So it goes fast, I guess. Well, those people, they are trained, of course. And speaking of training, one of the things that reassured me, because I want to go back to this being afraid or sense of danger. One of the first alerts, I was outside also, not in the building, and I saw the directions of all the military surrounding me. They were getting their weapons either in their hands or securing their helmet or whatever, but very quickly. Everything was some kind of a secure thing. I didn't stay too long because our instruction is to go inside and just get out of the way. So I did that. And when the alert stops and you have this siren saying that it's the end of the alert, you can see them removing the bullet that was in the chamber, and then they go to those big can thing. I mean, huge. I don't know how to call them. Filled with sand or concrete or whatever is in there, and there's an opening and then a little tube. They put their gun in there and they just shoot to make sure that there's nothing staying in the as a live weapon. But they do that so fast, they do that so in a secure way. This is where I really thought, those guys are trained, they do exactly the good things, they do everything does the same thing. There's a sense of control, security, and professionalism. And this is a little bit different also of what you see in the movies. You have a lot of individual actions in the movies and a lot of heroic things, which has a great value from a cinematic perspective. But when you see the real things, you say, okay, I feel okay because I know that those guys, they are all guys and girls, of course, they are women. I don't want to make a separation. They know what they do, and this is good. I feel secure, I feel protected, and so that's also a feeling that was putting me at ease for my time there.
I want to move on to your relationships, because you mentioned that you felt a part of something in that environment.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that, your relationships with your military colleagues and